Forgot to put the nuts at the bottom of the rear shock absorbers. These tyres on this thing are borderline legal. They are legal though.
I do want to keep the sealer very, very minimal. And then it's back on with the rocker cover. Doesn't work quite as good as I was hoping. They are rubbish.
I've got a bit of a problem.
Yeah, I know you. I watch your videos and everything.
Oh, cool, man. She's just running really bad. Hello and welcome to this video. I'm Marcus Hayes, and today you join me out and about in Maude, my Motorway Mk2 Escort, on a miserable day here in England. Now I want to start by sending a massive shout out and a thanks to Valve Monkey, who commented on the video before last and made me realise that in the video before that I forgot to put the nuts at the bottom of the rear shock absorbers where they slide onto the base plates. I'd basically undone those nuts just in case I needed to remove the shock absorbers to do the polybush job on the rear end. I didn't end up having to slide the shock absorbers off of the base plates, but when I put it all back together, I forgot to put those nuts back on. So when I got Maude out of the garage today, I did that. So yeah, massive thanks to you, Valve Monkey. Now the weather is going to hinder me a little bit in terms of what I can get done today, but I am heading over to the area where I store Esther, my SD170 powered Mk1 Escort. So I want to at least pass through there and finish up what I was doing the last time she was on the channel. Gotta be a bit careful in the wet. These tyres on this thing are borderline legal. They are legal though.
Alright, so last time I was around here, when I was rechecking Esther's valve clearances as it was getting dark, I didn't actually end up putting the rocker cover back on properly. The spark plugs weren't reinstalled either. So yeah, I still need to put this thing back together. Now, I've had issues with both my cars actually, where the rocker cover gasket allows oil to get into number 4 spark plug. Now, I do actually have a brand new rocker cover gasket in stock, but a few of you have been in touch in the past to tell me that you're actually better off putting a little bit of sealer on the gasket face just to stop the oil getting into number 4 spark plug. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'll reuse the old gasket, and yeah, next time I take it for a rip, we'll just see if that spark plug is kept dry. I'm planning on getting another rocker cover powder coated black during the winter, so I'll save my brand new gasket for that rocker cover. I do want to keep the sealer very, very minimal. And then it's back on with the rocker cover. Alright, so I've only nipped up the rocker cover bolts. I'll let the sealer go off and yeah, I'll tighten those up later on. Although they don't need a lot of torque at all. I think it's like 7 Newton meters or something is the spec of them. Anyway, what I want to crack on with now is I want to double check the tension on this cam belt. Because this car runs an aftermarket cam belt tensioner, the only way to see if it's tensioned the belt enough is to twist the belt, and I think you want 90 degrees in total of twist. You can't do it here because that bit's tight because it's between the 2 pulleys. You need to do it on the bit of the belt here that goes down to the crank, and as you can see, we've still got the front cover on there, which is the actual engine mount when these are fitted to the Focus. Esther's alternator belt tension can be adjusted at the idler pulley and the alternator itself. But seeing as I was going to have to move the idler pulley bracket out of the way, I decided to loosen the tension on the belt from there. Once the alternator belt was removed, I set about removing the water pump pulley. And once that was out of the way, I loosened this Allen key bolt on the idler pulley bracket, then removed the other bolt from the bracket, which meant I could slide the bracket out of the way. Next, I removed the remaining bolts holding the alloy front cover on, and once that cover was out of the way, I was able to check the tension on the cam belt. which was ever so slightly looser than I wanted it. Esther's aftermarket cam belt tensioner has a slot in it so that you can use a screwdriver to set the tension. You just crack off the bolt, add a bit of tension, and then do the bolt back up. Once I was happy with the cam belt tension, it was just a case of putting everything back together. First to go back on was the alloy front cover, then the water pump pulley. Then I reinstalled and tensioned the alternator belt. Now that the sealer I smeared on earlier had had a bit of time to go off, I nipped up all the rocker cover bolts, being careful not to over tighten them, and then I reinstalled the spark plugs, reconnected the VVT solenoid, hooked up the HT leads and reattached the engine breathers. I reattached the strut brace to its bracket, and then all that was left to do was to reset the exhaust cam timing by retarding the vernier pulley by 2 notches, which was how it was when Esther was last tuned on the rolling road.
Alright, so I mentioned on the way down here that Maude's tyres are borderline legal. I think this one here, the rear driver's side, is the one with the most tread. And then I've got the NS2Rs on the front, which are, yeah, on the limit. Still legal. And yeah, the other front is about the same, and the other rear has got less tread than this driver's side rear, just because when you're hitting roundabouts, yeah, the left tyre takes, you know, all the weight of the car. Now, at the back of Esther's garage, I've got her old Revolutions here. 1, 2, 3. The 4th one is in Esther's boot as a spare. These 3 tyres, these 2 are, you know, almost brand new. This one is a bit less, and the one in Esther's boot has loads of tread on it as well. So I'm actually going to put those 4 tyres from the blue Revolutions on Maude. Maude runs 185 60/13s, and Esther used to run 185 60/13s, but now she runs 175 60/13s. And what I'll do is I'll ask the tyre shop to put the driver's side rear one, which is the best out of the 4 that's currently fitted to Maude, onto one of the blue Revolutions, and that can go back in Esther's boot as a spare. I've actually found that this clamp doesn't work quite as good as I was hoping. Now, the reason I got this sort of clamp thing is so that I wouldn't have to have like a ratchet strap holding the tyre down, but it does allow movement, so yeah, might have to rethink. The 175 60s that are currently on the back of Esther are real budgets. They are rubbish. So I might actually order a couple of Yokohama A539s in 175 60 while I'm at the tyre shop today, and then yeah, I can just take Esther down there once they come in and get her rears changed. Yeah, because just before we took this thing to Northern Ireland, I last minute ordered some tyres in, and yeah, they were the only ones I was able to get in that size at short notice. Anyway, I'm going to put Esther back in her garage, then I've got a little bit of running around to do, and yeah, eventually I'll make my way to the tyre shop. Alright, so now we just need to drop off the blue Revos and all the tyres. Alright, back at the garages, and I've got yet more drift spares now. And over here, I've got the naked blue Revos. Now it's time for me to head back home. Alright, so since I replaced all the poly bushes on the rear end of this thing, I haven't actually taken it on a motorway run to see if it feels any better, you know, in terms of the vibrations going through the steering and that sort of thing. So I'm going to try and take the motorway way home this evening. Hopefully there's not too much traffic. It is rush hour now. And yeah, we'll see how she feels. She's obviously just had the tyres replaced and had all the wheels balanced, so that should help things. And yeah, as I say, I have fitted brand new poly bushes to the rear end. I'm pretty sure that not all of the issues are going to be solved, because as I've mentioned before, there is some play in the front legs of this thing, and I need to replace the bronze bushes in these Capri front legs, which should, you know, make a massive difference to how she feels. But yeah, we'll see how she feels in her current state. I've got a bit of a problem. Snapped another half shaft already. I can't believe it. Oh no. So, I mean, she's still driving, but there's a lot of knocking coming from the rear end, and I'm still quite close to Esther's garage, so I think I'm going to play it safe and go and get Esther and take her home. Dear oh dear.
Yeah, I know you. I watch your videos and everything.
Oh, cool, man. Well, that confirms it. Alright, so as you can see, I've swapped cars and I'm not having much luck with Esther either. She's just running really bad. So I've just pulled up because I want to see if it's just because she's cold. As I've mentioned before, it runs really bad when it's cold. Maybe it's just not getting hot enough to get beyond that point. So yeah, I'm just going to sit here with it idling and see if it will, you know, see if the temperature will go up a bit and see if that makes a difference. I have already checked if the coolant sensor's plugged in properly, and it is. Checked all the HT leads, checked the VVT, you know, checked that was plugged in properly. Because I know that if you unplug that, because it's been tuned to run VVT, it is really underpowered. So, yeah, I don't know. Nightmare. Disaster day. Definitely warm now, and she's still running like a pig. So all I can do is limp her home. Don't want to get stranded. What a nightmare. Alright, so we made it home, and I've got my laptop hooked up to the ME221 ECU, and I'm on the VVT screen, and as you can see, the VVT isn't working properly. If I rev it, this is what the cam advance should be, this one, and this is what it is. So at the moment it's saying it's 12 degrees when it should be 0. If I rev it up a bit, it should be 30. You see there, it wasn't working, then all of a sudden it did. So yeah, they're not following each other properly. So it probably means the VVT solenoid is faulty, and that's probably the one thing out of all the possibilities that I would rather it was. If it was anything to do with a coolant temperature sensor, then that means that the journey I just did, potentially, you know, the engine would have been over fueling. The other thing I'm sort of worried about is the crank sensor, which we found out recently is loose, and I'm gonna have to take the gearbox off to solve that. But yeah, it looks like it's just the VVT solenoid. And what do you know? I've got a spare VVT solenoid.
Hello, into a new day. Now, some people say that bad things come in threes, and I think they're right, because, as you can probably hear from my voice, I am now also broken along with Maude and Esther. Now, tomorrow I'm planning to go and see if Esther's issue is going to be as quick and easy fix as I'm hoping, and I want to go and investigate to see what the extent of the damage is on Maude's rear end. And I'm probably going to have a little bit of a think about Maude's rear end, because her current setup isn't really cutting it. So I need to decide how I'm going to move forward. Do I repair and reinstall her LSD? Do I install the uprated half shafts that Elite Race Transmissions sent me recently to replace the snapped ones from before, although I don't fully trust them? Is there something wrong with the rear axle that's causing the passenger side half shaft to snap? I don't know. I'll have to have a bit of a think, and yeah, I'll be diving into all of that in the next video. Now, before I end this video, I want to let you guys know that I've now released the official 2024 Marcus Hayes calendars, which are available to order on my website at marcushayesuk.com. The price includes free UK postage, but worldwide shipping is also available for a small fee. So head over to my website now and place your orders if you'd like to grab one of the official calendars. Now, this evening, me and my beautiful girlfriend are going up London to see something really cool. So I need to get this video edited and scheduled so that it's ready for you guys to watch this evening. Massive thanks to each and every one of you for tuning in. If you did think it was any good, please do give it a thumbs up and a share. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Click subscribe if you're new. Feel free to follow me on Facebook, TikTok and Instagram. Check out my website for merchandise and parts. Massive thanks to my patrons for your ongoing support. Oh, one of you guys, by the way, on my Patreon has won a calendar in the latest competition, so definitely go and watch the latest Patreon competition. But yeah, all the links to everything will be in the description as usual, along with my email address for anyone who wants to contact me. But other than that, until next time, thanks for watching.